Nice.
So that's Team 5. I left Team 5 and I went to a special projects group, and I was there for a year and a half, I think. And I was there doing sneaky peeky stuff. It was all plumber work, you know. And then
Can you talk about it at all?
It was bugs and electronics and video and surveillance and disguises and
Is this like the ASOP
Yes.
program?
Yeah.
Okay.
ASOC, and all those. It was before the SEALs had their own program. We started a special projects group to build the program and to start doing it ourselves. Because before that, we had to go to the Army and use all their stuff. You know what I mean? Before that, it was
so
all
this
Army.
program was, I thought this program was just, what year is this? Around
This
02,
is
03?
02, 03.
Man, I loved that project.
Yeah. It was a lot of cool
I mean,
stuff.
I didn't get to at the level you were at, but
Yeah.
I had heard about it, and we started doing some training with
I
some of that
wasn't at a
stuff.
huge level. There was a couple of guys there that was definitely, they were better at it than me, and it was more because of me, more because of who I was. I wasn't always the best at that at that time. It was because I was still coming out of the platoons, and I still had that.
You didn't
I
switch
was
the mindset?
Yeah, I didn't do great. I did great in pieces of it. I had a couple of things I did there that were awesome.
Can you
But-
describe the difference between being in something like that and a regular platoon?
Okay, regular
for the
platoon,
audience.
Yeah. So if you go into special projects, and there's a lot of them. Special projects could even be the triathlete guys. You know, that's different. It's a special project. So if you're in a platoon, all you are is a frogman. You're shooting and looting, and you're working all the time and training, and all you're training for is that mission. It's a mission of a direct action, a rescue, hydro recon. It's the mission focus. Special projects are all the things outside of those mission focuses that are very specialized, that you still need that set of skills to even be able to do the stuff that we're doing outside of those skills. And so that would be like the real deep water stuff and the sneaky stuff. Like if I was to destroy a pipeline that goes from Russia into Europe or something, I would be really good at that. I could do it so easy. It wouldn't even be a thought in my mind. It would be done. Just tell me to do it. 2 hours later, the thing's gone. Anywhere along there. If I want to shut down all the communications on the entire eastern coast of the United States, I could do that with one bomb. And it wouldn't have to be a very big one. I could do it with like 2 pounds of C4. That's special projects.
Yeah.
It's taking our skill set and doing something that's so far outside of our skill set. And so before I even went there, I already went through some agency courses, CIA courses. So I did target analysis and a few other ones. So I was already introduced to the CIA, which some team guys are, not all team guys. And so I started really getting into that, really getting into like that target analysis.
Did you
and
like that better than the platoons?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because I lived in the woods.
Yeah.
I'm isolated. I'm alone. I always worked better by myself. Even when I was in Afghanistan, I would just go off with a Terp and we'd do missions. It was me, just... I always laugh when I watch that Black Hawk Down thing when the guy's riding a bicycle. And do you remember that one scene in Black Hawk Down? He's a sneaky guy, and he rides a bicycle up, and he's doing his stuff, and all, wearing the local attire and a big beard. Like, if you look at me in local attire, it's like, yeah, I was good at it.
You have pictures of all this stuff.
Yeah, I got
Can I
pictures
put
of
them up?
everything.
Can you give them to me? I'll put them up.
Yeah, there's some pictures I can give you.
They'll be up
But
right
it's not, and it does sound like I'm egotistical. I'm bragging about a bunch of stuff.
No, it doesn't.
But
It does not.
It sets up kind of why I even made it to Damneck, to experiment with all that cool stuff. And the special projects of why I even got there was like, you have a guy coming out of, swamps and all the intel stuff, and every Master Chief on Earth knows me. Okay. Oh, I also invented all the 3M stuff to automate 3M. Do you remember the 3M programs? We had to do all the maintenance, the Q1 checks and all that. So the big Navy has all these things. You have to do quarterly checks, you have to do weekly checks, you have to do daily checks on equipment. So you have your camera equipment. They have batteries in it. So if you're using equipment a lot and the camera equipment, you have to do daily checks of your batteries to make sure your battery's all plugged in and doing that and that and that, and how to secure it and clean it and all that. So they used to make us do this stuff. And so I invented a whole way to do it really short and automated. And then I also made it so it was digital, so you didn't have to do it with pencils. And if you erased a sheet, you had to throw the whole sheet away, even if you were almost done. So if you did 99 marks on a sheet and you had one mistake mark, the whole thing is done. It's throw it away, start over. And so I made it automated and computerized, the whole system. And that was another weird one. So I did a lot of this stuff, and that's why people wanted me, because if there was a problem or something needed to be done, or if something was just, it was hard to use, just give it to me and I'll make it easy to use. The CNO of the Navy had a problem they're working on for the drug interdiction in the ocean. Was really, it's like, you can't do it. And a lot of it's coming from South America and these things. And so the CNO, they've been working on this problem for like 2 years. And so a captain that knew me knew that I did a lot of this stuff, and this weird stuff. And actually, this was at Damnick, though, so I'm jumping a little bit ahead. But this is a similar thing. So they called me in there and said, hey, you're pretty good at this stuff. Here's the problem. They drew it all up on the board. They showed me everything I had to do. I says, and this is in the middle of the Pentagon. And so I said, let me get a cup of coffee, let me think for a little while. And I says, all right. And I says, well, how long do you want some time? I said, give me a couple of hours. I'll see you back after lunch. And I said, just have another meeting, and I'm thinking I can figure something out. And so I figured it out. I figured out how to do it, and I've been working on it for like 2 years.
Holy shit.
And the stuff that I did had to do with supply chain. So I had to inject something into the supply chain, and then I had to use signals, and I had to use signals that were all around the Earth that you couldn't really detect because there was so much of it. I can't talk about it very more
serious?
than that. But yeah, so it's still a classified project, and it works.
Because of you.
Because of what I told him how to do it. I invented a whole nother system. And it was micro Doppler, nano, and some other stuff, and it was some really cool stuff. And I did it. And it's undetectable because it's using stuff it's everywhere. So you can't find it. I kept doing this stuff all the time. Oh, the motor racks. I was first lieutenant engineering guy, taking care of all the motors on an ARG. So we were on a ship, an amphibious ready group. And I was getting ready to go on an ARG, and this is just before Christmas. We were deploying like January 3rd or something. So it was during Christmas break during that time period. And so I'm loading the ship up, and I go on there, and I start talking about the motors and the racks that they had for the motors to be down on the well decks. On a ship, rocking and rolling in the ocean, and they build them out of these 2x8s and these 4x4s, and they build these things. And I was like, and they said, yeah, you just have to be really careful with this and how you strap them down net. And it's really big oceans. They sometimes break, and your motors might end up in the well deck. So sometimes you got to put straps on them and strap the motors to the wall of the ship in order to make them not crash and wreck all your motors. And I was like, well, that's not a very good way to do it. I said, this is a 6-month deployment, and I don't want my motors to be all over the ship deck. And I was like, well, I'm going to make it out of steel. And so I went back there to the engineering place, and I said, I need a welder. And they said, well, we don't have that stuff. And I said, well, so I went out and I bought a welder. And I went out and bought all the steel. And I brought it all back to the command. And I was there in the middle of winter from Christmas to New Year's welding, because I had to get it there before New Year's because the ship was being shut down and we go. So I had this drop dead time of this. I had to have the rack. So I welded up these giant motor racks, and I built them like this and like this. And so there was no things, and you didn't have to have up and downs, and it made it so you can grab the motors off really easy. Do you know what motor racks they're still using?
Those ones?
The ones I built in 1996. They use them today. And all the motor racks I build are built off of my dimensions and my build. And I bought my own I bought the own welder, and I bought all the metal because it was too fast. They couldn't do it. I got in trouble for that. The command said you can't be going out there and spending your own money and doing stuff for the team. I got in a whole bunch of trouble for it. And I told him, I said, but it's my auger and my motors. I don't want them breaking. I said, I don't care if I spend all that money. And then the captain was finally, all right, I'm done yelling at you. Go see the supply officer and he'll write you a check. So he ended up paying me back for the stuff. But he yelled at me first. Damn. You know, I was like, come on, Captain. Can't remember if that was, it wasn't Fitzgerald. It was just after him. I don't remember. But it was like, dude, if you have a problem and you have to invent something, when we were doing car interdictions, and I can talk about this one because it's not unclassified right now. So doing car interdictions, how do we interdict a car that's moving, going down a highway? We fly helicopters in the front and try to stop them. They go around and go out in the field. And it's hard to stop a car. we use the 50 cal. We try to shoot the engine out. When you shoot the engine out, the car is going 50, 60 miles an hour. It kills everybody. You know, because the car flips, everything else happens. We usually kill everybody if we try to stop a car going fast. And they're drawing all the stuff up on there. And this guy, Hondo, is drawing up there and trying to do the UAV, and he's trying to fly these things and trying to interdict these vehicles by UAV or something. And I said, well, how are you getting in that car? How are you keeping up with it? What are you doing? I said, we're flying the Little Birds. I said, I've done this before. And I said, we want it to be something we carry in our gear, so it has to be 40 Mike. It has to be something we can shoot at them. So I said, what you do is, and I started drawing on the board. It took me about an hour to think of this project. And they've already been working on this one for like months, trying to figure out how to interdict these cars without killing everybody. And so they gave me about an hour, and I started drawing up on a dry erase board, and I said, do this. I said, we already carry them. And I said, plus we have the ones that have a lot of rounds on them. The 40 Mike big one that has, and you can shoot like 4 or 5 rounds real quick. So, and they were like, well, you can't do that out of a helicopter. You can't interdict out of a helicopter. I said, give me a couple days. And so I went back and I got a helicopter and I flew up there with a 40 Mike and I started shooting cars out of a helicopter. Because I know people. And I was at Namneck, so it was easy. So we're flying these helicopters, we're shooting cars out of the freaking helicopters, and I was shooting practice rounds. So it was the orange stuff. But it was still breaking the windshields, it was doing stuff.
Yeah.
So I drew up on there, I said, basically, it's a 40 millimeter grenade. And I said, what you want to do is you want to put a hardened plastic cone in the front, and then you want to have where the explosive stuff was and all that, you want to have a real heavy lead or have something heavy, then have a projectile, but it has to be a tube. And it has to have sharp edges around a tube, and then a heavy thing. So that when a 40 millimeter grenade hits even steel, and you want to hit the roof of the car, don't hit the windshields, because then you can puncture through the roof of the car because of the inertia of it. It'll go right through because it's a hollow tube. It goes all the way through. Whatever you have inside of that tube will then disperse inside the car.
Holy
And you know what methyl ether mercaptan is?
No.
Nobody does. I do because I'm weird. And I said, you guys can put stuff inside of here and they're going to pull that car over real quick. They'll put the brakes on and everybody will get out. And as soon as you shoot it, you land the helicopter, they all get out and you got them. You don't kill anybody.
Damn.
If it's not the right people, they're outside of the car and they have some issues for a little bit, but you clean them off and they have a little hole in the top of their car, you give them $100 and you go away because there's the wrong car. You're not killing everybody. That was 1 hour and they gave me a problem. There's about 10 other things I can say, but one was a little classified probably. But the other one is like, dude,
Keep
this
going.
is all easy stuff.
Keep going.
So
This is fascinating.
It was bunches of the Iron Man project.
I mean, this is some of the most brilliant stuff that.
Oh,
I mean,
man, I can tell
this
you
is
some
just
of the
another
classified
level,
ones, man.
Chris. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just nobody sitting across from me has come up with this kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, there's been like phenomenal, operators that have sat in that chair, but this is.
But none of those
this is
operators even know I
different.
did it.
This is different.
It was in the bowels of the Pentagon, down a lot of floors, and then deep, and they don't even know I did it.
Yeah.
The hostile forces tracking, targeting, locating, the entire program for DOD wide was a budget of like it was almost $400 million, DOD wide. And so I'm there as a chief, and they know I'm really good at this stuff. So they called me up to the Pentagon. I got in trouble for this one too. That was, I remember his name. It was one of the commanders at Namneck.
It doesn't
He got
matter.
really
It
mad
would be
at me.
best if we leave names
He got
out.
so mad at me for doing it. But on weekends, I would drive my own car up to the Pentagon. And then the Pentagon staff that was in charge of the whole system, the entire portfolio wide, which was a stack of programs like this much. And each program was only a quad chart, was one sheet of paper with 4 sections. It would show you the company, the prices, all the stuff. It would show you the mission. It would show you all the stuff real quick, a quick outline of what it was they were trying to build. And this is all future projects. So we're spending $400 million on, and we're giving all the money to Northrop Grumman and all these freaking, thieves around the Beltway, Beltway bandits. We're giving them $400 million a year to invent all these things for us to track people, to locate them, track them, and tag them, and do all the stuff. And so they started calling me up there, and actually the reason they called me up there is because one of them, I was going up there, and I saw one of these things, and I was like, this is stupid. We already have something better. And the guy that was in charge of the program was like, what? I said, yeah, I said, we have something way better than this. I said, why are you guys wasting all the money on this? I said, you guys are wasting like $6 million on a stupid project that we already have. I said, they're double dipping. It's the same company. They already gave it to us. I said, they're double dipping. It's the left hand not talking to the right hand. And then the guy was like, well, I wonder how many other projects are in there. I said, well, let me see the book. So he brings me into the skiff, the secret compartment, and then we start flipping through the books. I'm going, nope. That's okay, but we already have that spec, that spec, that spec. All we need is this. So cut that program down by at least half, only give them $2 million and make them do that one thing. I was going through the whole book, flipping through pages. I did that for a little while, and the guy was like, hey, can you come up here and do this with all of us? Because I was only with him. He wanted more of his staff there so we can start flipping through and rewrite the entire program. So in about 3 weekends or 4 weekends, I went up there, driving from Virginia Beach up to D.C. to Pentagon, and I would stay at the Pentagon and just work like 12 hours a day going through the books and looking at everything and studying and telling them and writing down all the numbers, how much it should cost. Because I already know all the cost breakdowns. I can give you, if that's TRL6, technology readiness levels, I can take you where the technology readiness level is right now for anything. I can tell you where it'll be and how much it'll cost and where it goes. I can tell you if we already have it right now. If you give me almost anything to portfolio for Grumman or Northrop Grumman, GD, any of them, I did it for 3M. So the 3M guys had me up there, and they started asking about different things. I said, well, the military never used that. But if you do this, this, and this, the military would buy it like crazy. And so I went to 3M, and I gave them a whole bunch of the same stuff. Rewrote the entire program, fired a lot of companies, and changed the entire program. And that was with Richardson down at SOCOM. He had me, Doug Richardson, good guy, like smart. That guy was really good at it. He had a warrant officer working for him who was magnificent also. He's probably running the program now. Can't remember his name, no, Army warrant. But give me the problem and I'll solve it every time.
Wow.
But it'll take me a little while sometimes.
Yeah.
So I invented a 2-man submarine for SEALs. How fast do we swim when we're doing SEAL teams? Underwater. If you have all your gear on and if you do a sniper ops, you have your sniper bag on your back and all the other stuff, how fast can you swim?
Oh, man.
About
it's
a knot?
slow, but I
About a
can't,
knot?
I can't remember. Yeah. Maybe.
About a mile an hour?
Yeah.
So I could get 2 snipers into my little man-powered submarine with all their equipment, and we can go 6 miles an hour, 6 knots, man-powered. All they have to do is paddle. You can have one guy paddling, can do about 4 knots. I invented that.
You invented that.
Gave it to the teams.
Holy shit.
And the thing is I have it in such a way that I could hermetically seal it in the plastic, put it in all the torpedo tubes of the nukes. And so, because they don't use all the torpedo tubes, usually 1 or 2 of them are open to do stuff. And so usually we get a couple of them. So we'll go onto a submarine and get the torpedo tube, and we use that as a lockout chamber. So we have the sections and they're sectioned off. So I can take these submarines, I can put them end on end, so they're up like that, and they're the length of them about 20 feet. So it's a 20-foot long submarine for 2 people to kick out man-powered at 6 knots. And I package them up, and I put them in the submarines vertical like that, and it can be on every submarine in the fleet. And then going 6 knots, we could drop you off 30 miles out off the coast. And then you guys can kick in. I can drop you 12 miles off, 15 miles off. I can drop you off wherever you want and just kick into shore with the submarine going really fast.
Damn.
And then what happens to the submarine when we get on shore? It goes away. You know what it sounds like when it's underwater?
No.
It sounds like fish. So in a sonar, you can't pick it up. There's special things I did, and I can't talk about it, but there's stuff I did with that just blow your mind. And that was one of the special projects I did. And I think they only gave me they didn't give me very much money for that one. I think I did that one only with less than $100,000. For all the R&D and getting it all there and we made 4 prototypes, I think. And then I left that program, so I don't know where it is right now. And it's classified, so I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
I had another one where I could put out a signal, and if anybody records anything, anywhere in the world, I know the exact spot they recorded it. That was one of mine.
Man.
I don't know if that's classified because the shit's so old and nobody, well, at this
Wow.
point, it's like if we think of it and the amount of PhDs we have in America,
It's out there.
China already thought about it 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you can look at it, it's math. If we have one PhD to every 20 of theirs in STEM, I'm not talking about the stupid soft arts, the touchy-feely stuff. I don't care about any of that. America has so many PhDs in like counseling and sociology and crap. All the STEM is where you got to be. STEAM, actually. STEAM is where we should be at, and it's all over there. We don't do it. And it pisses me off. And what are they pushing all these kids in grade school and high school right now? They're not pushing tech and math and engineering or any of this good stuff.
Yeah.
They're pushing all the touchy-feely and let's talk and play patty cakes and let's be nice. No, do math, man.
Yeah. Yep.
Because we're done already. We're finished.
I think we're done too.
As a country. So I get recruited to Dam Neck, and I do that, and I do green team. All the guys at Dam Neck are mad at me because I didn't do that. And they call me, well, yeah, SEAL, but not really. And that kind of crap. But then every time they need something, they all come to me.
They're nice then, right?
Yeah. So, and I'm also riding my Harley, and it's a 1960 Harley that I'm riding in the Dam Neck compound every day, right through the gate. And I'm parking right there. It's a Kickstarter. It's a bad motorcycle. And they're all seeing it, and they're going, and so they're all kind of looking at it too, going, well, pretty cool, SEAL, but didn't go through green team, and they're throwing a finger at me. And so I'm isolated from the entire team. I had my own team that I'm supporting those guys and doing everything I can for them. I changed the face of technology at Dam Neck because I started doing something with all the techs that had never been done before. I was deploying them into like real combat because we were training for combat to do real missions. Before that, the tech group would deploy with the teams, but they were still like, you're outsiders. You're not really with us. You're not trained well. If you don't have this, you don't have that. They would never let them really do any work. And so we started this whole program. It wasn't me, but this program was started to put all the techs through this qualification course, similar to Green Team, not as tough, but it was pretty tough, It wasn't easy. And at that time, I forgot to tell you, I fell off a ship one time and broke my back. And the guys were kicking me on the way up the ship, and I actually climbed the ship with it broken onto the shipboard. But it was really hard for me to do push-ups after that. And so for me, even to go, I would never make it through green team. I wouldn't make it through buds right now because my back is so jacked up. And so when I do push-ups and all that pressure is right on all the brakes, it's really difficult. And so I'm crap at push-ups right now. And even doing sit-ups, I'm really bad at it because it's like, if you break all those bones in your lower back and you're all screwed up, you have a real hard time doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so that's another reason why after that happened, I kind of started moving way more into tech also. So it's kind of like I should have brought that up because it was part of the equation. Part of the equation why I went in so deep into tech was because it was a better place for me because I couldn't really do as much as I used to. And I knew it.
That makes
and so
sense.
as a team guy, if you know you can't do it, I don't want to be a detriment to the team. So if I'm just flying a UAV and I'm doing that, I can still do the work. I just can't, I'm not going to be as effective. If my effectiveness went from that 100, I'm down to this 70 or 80 group. Because I dropped down. I'm not like a civilian, but I'm still pretty good, but I know I'm not as good as I was.
Damn,
and I admit
though,
that.
Chris,
And so when I'm doing that stuff, the damn guys see me doing push-ups and I'm crap at it, and they're going, what? And that makes them even angrier at me, Because they're like, well, you never would have made it anyway. And they're getting all angry. I said, yeah, but I'm a senior chief. I'm 45 years old. I've already done all the door kicking. I can show you all the time I did and all my shooting and firefights and whatever you want me to show you. So I do the job. And I said, when I'm in a kill house, and they saw me in a kill house, I'm pretty good. And that's all they care about is a kill house. And when I went into a kill house, it's like, dude, I'm doing it. I'm taking care of business. And they also knew that, the guys that worked with me directly. So it was like, I just want to bring that up because all those guys at Dam Neck, they're so freaking egotistical about what they do that they shit on I was going to say real SEALs. But if you think about the SEAL teams, that's the real SEALs, is all the other teams, not the Dam Neck guys. Because they have a mission, have a very specific thing. They're not doing all the SEAL team missions. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Except for during the war, everything got all mixed up. But if you want to go back to the old SEALs, the SEALs were the SEALs. And the Dam Neck guys had a specific mission that that's what they did. You know what I mean? It was like, dude, I can do what you guys are doing. Especially if I was back in the old days, I would have kicked you guys' asses. You know? So give me a freaking break. I'm here to do a mission. Don't keep punching me in the face.
How long were you over there?
Like 5 years, I think. Long enough.
Did you enjoy
4 or
it
5 years
at all?
Oh, it was amazing. I loved it.
Okay.
Even when all the damn net guys were punching me in the face, I would still love going there because the mission was so intense. When you're doing the mission, you know you're doing a mission. So, dude, you guys can crap on me every day you want, but I'm doing the mission. I'm still helping. And that's what the techs, even at damn neck, the techs get crapped on all the time.
I've heard
So when
that.
I got in charge of all the techs, I made them stop. And when I started doing the techs, they kept coming down to the space because I had my own space down there. It was like these huge rooms and all our equipment, all our stuff. And I would say, "What are you doing down here? Get back up to your squadron." And they're going, "All right, senior." And so they would go up there and I said, "I don't ever want to see you." I said, "I want you here once a week on Fridays just to check in and tell me everything's good and tell me what you need." I said, "Otherwise, I want you with those guys all the time. You need to drink beer with them. You need to be with them every second." I said, "And that's how you're going to do it. When they're training, you train." I said, "If they don't let you train in the kill house, then just go over on the side and just keep drawing your pistol against the wall and do drills and have all the gear on and just drill against the wall. And they're going to see you. Eventually going to invite you in the kill house." And they did. And so after me really pushing all the techs to really be part of the squadrons, we went from 1 or 2 tech missions a year to like over 100.
Wow. You've done a lot for the teams.
So,
There's no doubt
I was
about
just
it.
doing what I thought was right. And they didn't like me because I kept pushing the techs up to them.
And it goes to show you, that it just
Even
goes to
getting
show
punched in
you
the
everything
face.
happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Your back broke,
Yeah.
and you found your calling in the teams. So
Yeah.
I'm 100%.